Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Bridget Everett, star of Somebody Somewhere, one of the funniest and most heartfelt shows on TV. Bridget, how did it feel to have that initial success from season one and then get to come back for season two and explore these characters even further?
Well, I think, it feels like such an under the radar show. I'm kind of surprised we got to come back. So I'm really thrilled. It just feels like we have kind of a small but mighty following. And I think we're staying true to what we wanted to do with the show. And that feels I mean, I honestly, I can't believe it. It just feels like a dream come true.
I was watching a couple episodes again recently, and there's the obvious humor, and then there's these little things that make me laugh, even when I'm not sure I should be, because it's just like Sam being Sam. Those are almost my favorite parts. Like, there's a part in episode seven where she's yelling at Joel about how mad she is that he didn't tell her he's dating someone, and it's this beautiful emotional performance. But then she's wearing this big purple shirt that says "I'm with Stud." Like those kind of things just make me laugh. What is your favorite part about playing this character?
We like to call those cut the cutie, like, because we our thing is like, oh, is that cutie? Is that not cutie? I think that my favorite part about it is just sort of like the natural element of it, that it doesn't feel like forced humor or whatever. Like that's when I'm on a set and I always get nervous because I feel like, oh, you're supposed to be funny now. And that doesn't feel like the what's the word? Like the missive or like the point of the show. It just feels like you're talking with a friend, you're hanging out, it's kind of slice of life. So it takes the pressure off to either try to be funny or try to do anything. It's just to kind of be.
And you're from Manhattan, Kansas, and that's where the story takes place. What was it like to leave and pursue your dreams? And now you're back in Manhattan, Kansas, where your dreams are coming true. I mean, that's a really strange thing to happen for someone.
It's so surreal. I like blew out of town first chance I could get, and I got as far away as I could. I ended up going to Arizona State because like a party school, but and then there was a time in my life where I didn't go home for like 5 years. My mom lived there, my brothers, and a lot of my family, but I just always felt like a fish out of water there, kind of like a misfit, I guess. But as I got older and my mom started getting older, I think I started to see things in a different way. And specifically doing this show, seeing seeing the beauty of Kansas in a whole new way, like the appreciation of community and what brings people together, like kind of the things that I felt like suffocated me before, I have a new appreciation for. And also just like the natural beauty of it. When you live there and you grow up there and all you see is just like it's as wide as the eyes can see, and it's almost like you feel like you'll never get anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
going back and seeing, the beauty of it is really it's special and it's comforting.
Talk about working with Jeff Hiller because you two have so much chemistry. What's your history with him, and how has it been developing that working relationship over the course of the past two seasons? Is it as much fun as it looks?
Yeah, he has a sort of undeniable warmth, and he's really funny and easy. He's not like, he doesn't, he just makes him really easy to be around, right? And I didn't know Jeff that well. I knew him like kind of from around the way. We were both in this sort of downtown, but kind of parallel. He was like on the improv scene, and I was more on the downtown cabaret thing, and we kind of like would cross paths, but only like this much. But I was always a fan of his. I thought he was super funny. I love the way he looks. I think he's so striking, and I just really I have such a curiosity about him, or I did. So when this part came up and we were really struggling to find the exact right person, I thought of Jeff, and he came in, and he was just perfect. It was like the part was written for him. There's so many parallels that he has from his own life to Joel, which it feels like it should have been written for him. But I guess that's a case of sometimes the right person walks through the door, and you can't help but then there's nobody else you see.
And I have to bring up episode two, which is called Number Two, because it probably made me laugh harder than anything I've seen all year. When Sam calls Joel and he has to hold on, and then she just has explosive diarrhea, and then they have explosive diarrhea together over the phone. Talk about shooting that scene.
That was honestly like, there's probably two things that terrified me the most of this season, and that was one of them. Because I don't really excel at physical comedy, and Jeff, I knew was just going to knock it out of the park. And he did. Basically, we shot his coverage first because it was a different house, and I was down in the basement on like a walkie-talkie or something. We're just, shooting the shit, literally. But it's based on something that happened in my real life. One of my dear friends, we were on the phone together, and he's like, "Oh no, I gotta take a papa. I gotta take a papa." And he's like, all of a sudden, it's like, boom. He's like, oh my God, there was no time. I was like, all you got to do is press mute. But I think that the beauty of that scene is it shows the intimacy of friendship and how something like that should be so humiliating, but it only brings them closer together. And I was really afraid we would lose part of our audience because, it's a little vulgar, but I love a fart joke. I can't help it. I'm 51 years old and farts make me laugh.
I loved it too. And their relationship kind of lacks boundaries.
Yeah.
But we also see this season, Fred is getting married. And then Joel's sort of been hiding this relationship that Sam finds out about. So she's overcome with what her future holds for her. She's sort of feeling like, am I going to be left alone? What's going on inside of her this season, do you think? What are those feelings?
Well, I think she's kind of just suffered a compound fracture, right? Because Holly has like kept something from her and she's gone now. There's nothing Sam can do about it. It's like she sort of holds Sam or Holly and Joel up on like this pedestal as if they're not human and he can't do anything to hurt her. But I don't really think that Joel or Holly did something to Sam. She just takes it that way, right? Because is so she's so afraid to like give herself over to somebody, and it's almost more comfortable for her to retreat. So it's kind of like, well, you guys did this, so here I am back at the table, breakfast for one. And I don't know, I don't necessarily think Sam is right, but I think it's a very human reaction. And I don't know, I can relate to it.
And there's a handsome jailbird that lives next door that could add some interesting dynamics. If when the story continues, is Sam ready for love or at least sex?
I don't think she's got anything, about against sort of a everybody likes to be touched, right? But anything beyond that, I think is going to be a challenge for Sam. So, I mean, she's barely ready for love with Joel. She's barely ready for love with her sister. It'll be something to explore. I mean, we have season 3 mapped out, so we'll see what HBO says, and if we get that ooh, green light. I don't know why I made that sound like the green light. Yeah, we want to. I think that's because the emoji, the GIF. I say GIF or GIF. I can't remember, but it's like a green flashing light. So we're hoping for that soon.
I hope so too. You get to sing a lot in this series. Was that your first love? Like, was that your real first dream?
Yeah, I think singing and music is my first and kind of only love. Well, that's not true. I love my dogs, but I I just think there's something about it that connects me to, my mom and my family, and just it's kind of something that's always made me feel special. And I don't mean like special, like look at me special. I just think it makes me feel alive. And I think that that is the same thing for Sam. That's a big part of the show is kind of the great love affair of music and all the different ways it can affect you and how it walks you through your life. So yeah.
Talk about Mary Catherine Garrison a little bit. You two go back a little ways,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah,
So
we were
what's that
roommates
like
for
to
about 10
have her
years.
come on and be your sister?
It's incredible. I didn't actually think it was going to work because, I'm almost 6 feet tall and she's almost 5 feet tall. And I was like, there's nobody that's going to believe that we're sisters. But, we lived together for almost 10 years and we have sort of a commonality between us that I think really helped. There's like, scenes like when we're going to do a dramatic scene, I'm like, how am I going to do this with Mary Catherine? Like, we used to just drink on the couch and watch Trading Spaces together. But it felt very natural and very easy. And I think she's always been one of my favorite actors. I think um, she's so versatile and can make you laugh and cry. And she's just like an open book. And I also thought that that would be so great for Trisha to have somebody who's like, on the surface is just like so taut, but like something about Mary Catherine that kind of can bloom from that and in a beautiful and exciting way. I just think she's incredible in this season.
Yeah, she is. And there's a lot I can relate to just coming from the Midwest. There's like people don't really talk about their feelings, we're not really like huggers. I remember when I moved away for the first time and I like had this new circle of friends, and just for arriving at a house, they would hug me and I was like, what is happening here? And I feel like there's sort of that like there's sort of a shield with Sam, and that comes through with the music teacher when she like puts her hand on her chest and they're going through breathing exercises. How did that resonate with you?
Well, first of all, I just want to touch on like the Midwestern thing because I'm like always so militant about that. And I'm like, these are Midwestern people. Like, they don't, or we don't, at least in my household, like we didn't talk about families. Like we just had a death in the family, and after it was like, yeah, right, I'm okay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like and so to me, that's kind of what makes Joel so special for Sam because, again, I was just back in Kansas this weekend, and it's just you're just not always like getting under the surface of the skin with people. It can be very sort of like and the hugging thing, the three pats on the back, and just sort of moving along. So when it comes to like the tenderness of a touch, the tender touch of another human being, like I don't know if it reads on screen, but for me, I was like, she puts her hand on Sam, and Sam is like, paralyzed basically, because it's just like, especially in an intimate moment like with the singing and stuff, it's all really, it's so personal, and just sharing that with anybody, let alone having them touch you, is way outside of Sam's comfort level, and I think a lot of Midwesterners might feel the same.
Yeah. And it's loosely based on your real life experience, but it's not an actual depiction of your family. So what about Bridget is the most like you? And what is the most different? Or what about Sam is the most like Bridget? And what is the most different?
I think that the similarities are that we both lost a sister, and that we both love music and singing, and the found family aspect of it. Like that's all really something I can relate to. Oh my God, my dog, come here. Lulu, shh. Sorry. Let's roll up. But anyway, I relate to all those themes, but I also think that Sam is willing to kind of, as slowly as she does it, she's willing to grow and to take steps that had taken me decades. She's doing it in a much shorter amount of time. Even though it's just inch by inch, she is trying really hard. It may not seem that way, but really, she really is. And I think that that's kind of beyond my capability. So my hat's off to Sam.
Yeah. And I have to just say, for me, another thing that hit home and was just by chance, the song Gloria by Laura Branigan. I mean, me and my sister had the 45 record. I played this like thousands of times. I have that whole song memorized. It's one of the best songs I've ever heard. And I don't care what anyone says. I want to know who picked that song for the show because I love that it was featured not only in the car, but then in that wedding reception.
Well, it sort of picked itself because we were living together during season one and season two. Jeff and Murray and I, Joel and Federico and I, and we would, on Saturdays we would go to Target. That was like our big activity, and sort of walk around and like the air conditioning, I guess. But we got in, and Jeff was driving, and he had this like "You Go Girl" playlist. I mean, I think it was like "Yes Girl" or "You Go Girl," and like we're like, what is this? And we come on, and like Gloria is like cranked when we get in the car, and we were all like, yeah, we're losing our minds. And so to me, it just felt like it's organic to Jeff, and so it just felt like something that Joel would lose his shit for. Or sorry, I don't know if it's a cuss,
It's
but
fun.
yeah. So I was like, this has got to be the song, and we put it in, and I think that helps give a very organic reaction for Joel. Later, each time it comes up.
That made me so happy. This level of success didn't come easy for you. What do you say to people who think, okay, I'm in my 40s, I'm in my 50s, I have the life I have, this ship has sailed on dreams that I may have had before?
Well, I mean, I've said it 1,000 times. I heard something from LL Cool J once, which is DDHD, dreams don't have deadlines. And the first time I heard it, I was like, come on. I was like, wait, wait. But it's true. I waited tables up and through my 40s, middle 40s, and I think it's easy to sort of think like your ship has sailed, like there's no opportunity for you to sort of lock in and land, right? But for me, like I just kept going, and it's because I wanted it. I didn't need to be like famous. I still don't want to necessarily, that's not the pursuit. It's more like getting to make things that excite me. And this is one of them. And I think if you stick to it and you really work hard at it, you can't just, you can't just be talent, you can't just be this, you can't just work hard, you kind of have to have a combination of both. But there's no there's nothing better, more gratifying in life than following your heart and letting you sort of taking a chance on yourself. That's the best thing I can say, because I spent many years kind of standing in my own way, and what a waste of time. I wish I would have known this sooner.
Wow. Have you gotten the chance to meet LL Cool J?
I haven't, but on my 50th birthday, my agent somehow pulled the string and got him to make me a video. So I actually met him like in my 20s. He came into PF Chang's when I was a waitress there. And, I was like, that was before I knew about DDHD. I was just like, oh my God, he's just, he's like, has so much star power, and he's so handsome, and, kind of knocks you off your feet. But maybe it's better that I don't ever meet him, because right now it's just like this mythical sort of hero, and I always like hear
Yeah.
him DDHD. I got all the necklaces and shit that say DDHD. I'm all in.
And you've had great response from critics for the show, and the fans are devoted. It's just growing and growing. So what was it like to be nominated at the Indie Spirits, Gotham, TV Critics Association? I mean, what does that response mean for you?
Well, it means a lot, because I think when you have a show like ours that doesn't have a huge audience, it helps keep us on the air.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Like, it feels good. I feel gratified, like that I'm not, shit in the bed, like that I'm doing an okay job. But I think more than anything, it just means that it helps reinforce to HBO that there's value in what we're doing. And of course I'm excited to go to the party and have all the fun. But it really, to me, is just a reassurance for the networks.
Well, I hope the Emmys are
I
next.
mean, it
My
feels
fingers
good.
are crossed. I mean, you've created one of my favorite characters on TV. So is Joel. It's so funny, incredible storytelling. And Bridget, congratulations on season 2, and thanks for chatting with Gold Derby today.
Thanks for having me on and shining a little light on our show.